fundamentally, I worry that they don't believe in what democracy is about, which is changing opinions. Saying, here's my argument, vote for me or not, the Burkean view. I've been studying this for a long time. Now I have to engage with you, convince you, over time, not right away, move you slowly to this position that it really does matter that Germany coordinate its policies with the United States and China over the economic crisis. That will affect your life as a human being in a fundamental way. So we should talk about it. Whether we put troops, in Afghanistan or not, whatever one thinks of the issue, is a life and death matter. A, for the troops out there, but B, for what we think about Al-Qaeda and how we're going to deal with that. We need to have a grown-up discussion about, do Europeans really care about Al-Qaeda? There are all kinds of threats in the world. Is this a threat that merits doing anything or not? If it's not, that discussion should be had too. That discussion is not had. It shouldn't just be, oh, no, we're not warlike, John. Here's our history. I'm a PhD in history. I'm well aware of your history. We need to have a discussion about why that's not in German interests, and that would be fine. I think Americans would be very open to that. Here's our interests. Here's how we view what should happen. But there has to be a proactive policy alternative, not mumbling, looking at my feet and saying, isn't it difficult because our people are uneducable? And I think they're frightened of the populace. I think they're frightened to say, look, 2/3 of the people are against intervention anywhere for anything. Okay, that's isolationism, that's fine. Then German elites should first say, is that a good idea? Maybe it is. Maybe that suits what they want. Then they have to have the guts to say that. If they don't think that, then they should have the guts to say to the people, with respect, I think you're wrong. Here's why I think you're wrong. What would you say to this? That's a dialogue. That's a dialogue. That's what's utterly missing. That's the oil that greases the machine, that makes it really work. And without it, the machine kind of seizes up, like my car, a lot. And that's what's missing. I think that there's a distrust both ways in Europe, and certainly in America under Bush, there was a distrust that there's a political class and then a normal class of people. They aren't related in any basic way. There isn't this linkage that really is the basis of Jeffersonian thinking, that we're all in this together. The best way to change that is to say, I don't agree with you that Germany should be isolationist. If I were a friend of mine, Karl Theodor zu Guttenberg, merely for the fact that I'm the economics minister and I'm aware we're the best exporter in the world, we want to keep that going because right now that's all we got. We're not consuming enough to get us out of this mess. So we need exports to move forward. The Americans aren't going to consume enough, so we need to look at other markets. That means I need to talk about the rest of the world. That argument should be made. And I think they're frightened of their own people. I think that's the dirty secret. And it's an effort. As it is, they're reelected. Life as an MP in any country is pretty nice. Why rock the boat when you can go along? I know I came out against the war on Iraq. It cost me my job in the States. A number of my friends said, why are you, well-meaning friends, said, why do you care, John? You're in your 30s and you're the senior guy at the Heritage Foundation. If you just shut up, privately make your concerns known, which I had. I'd written articles on it. Don't do any more. You'll be Assistant Secretary of State by the time you're 45. Just shut up and do nothing, and you're there. Why are you endangering all this? And it occurred to me that was a problem. They meant well. They were in it to help me. But they were right, in a sense, that if you do nothing, if you say nothing, if you offend no one, you're much more likely to get promoted. The minute you advocate any policy, 1/3 of a room hates you, doesn't agree. 1/3 probably like you and 1/3 aren't sure what you're talking about. That losing 1/3 of the room every time you speak is a very dangerous thing for a political animal. Not doing it, though, is a very dangerous thing for republics. I think one of the ways is to find ambitious young people who aren't tied to this kind of cultural ethos and say, look, yes, if you do nothing and play the game, in 20, 25 years, you're going to matter. But look at someone like Obama. He refused to play the game. The reason most people thought Obama was going to run for president, the cynical Washington answer I heard, very talented young guy. He's running to get a name to be known around the world. The minute he's known, in 8 years, he'll be a real good candidate. He'll still be in his early 50s, or mid-50s. It's really young to be president. He comes in an honorable second to Hillary, and everyone's happy. That's what an old style, he won't rock the boat. At the edges, he'll say some interesting things. He's a good speaker, he has charisma, and this is great. The minute I met his people, I realized they were different. They really wanted to win. And so what you say to MPs, the incentive is, do you really want to jump the system? And what he did was create a parallel system. He ignored the old system. People forget 95% of the Democratic elite voted for Hillary. Everyone I knew in Washington, at the Council on Foreign Relations, where I'm a member, all the old establishment stuff, were all for Hillary. She was obviously going to win. It was very simple. And the Obama guys were younger by a generation, hungrier, saw a chance to jump the queue and get ahead. And so taking ambition, which is innate in political systems, and saying to these folks, if you play by the rules the old men have set, 25 years from now you're going to matter. Yes. But do you really want to waste the next 25 years sitting with me in a bar in Kreuzberg talking about how we could run things better? Or do you want to run things better? You want to do things. There are good young politicians who want to do things. And I think that's the way to get them. Change the system, engage people, change the calculation, and you'll force the other guys to scramble to do it, and I guarantee they won't do it as well because they're not used to doing it, as Hillary wasn't. And as McCain certainly wasn't, and as Bush wasn't, and as every Republican attack person wasn't. You know, Obama really wanted to have a conversation with a bunch of people who don't vote traditionally, African Americans, Hispanics, students who notoriously don't vote. And he had that conversation. He used the internet in an entirely new way, which is something I'd urge here. That's something that's part, you know, nobody's more technologically savvy than Germans. This is totally culturally fine. And he made it a Jeffersonian tool to connect people who've never met, never knew each other, would never meet, local communities, really almost going back to the founders of my country, the beginning, town hall meetings. You know, this very old thing, but a very new thing. Using the technology to recreate this Jeffersonian marketplace where he could change things. That's the way around this. I mean, that's the most interesting thing about the Obama guys. I mean, yes, I voted for him as a Republican very early on. I thought he's great. I still, for all the things that haven't gone right, I still don't regret that decision. But it's the campaigning, it's the linking up of these new people, it's changing the structure. And he kept it. He still has a mailing list of everyone on his structure. So if the Democratic Party gets to establishment, he writes an email to his people and say, go bug your congressman about this issue that I care about. He has an inbuilt constituency that he created from nothing that's organic, Burkean, and part of the American experience. Germans could do that. In fact, the market's more open here to do it. You know, there is populism in the States, good and bad, in more of a way than here. And so I think this is a really great market share. And I do say to some of my younger German MP friends, you know, think about it, guys. Do you want to sit around for a quarter century, or do you want to actually get out there, scare these guys, shake this up, do good work by the Republic, and maybe you just win? That's the pitch I'd make to them privately. But I don't have to run. I get to sit here and drink coffee.